Okay, let's be real for a second. When you hear Fantastic Four, your brain probably goes straight to flop territory. Maybe it flashes back to that 2015 reboot that looked like it was edited on a potato. Or maybe you remember Chris Evans before he was America's ass, running around shirtless as the Human Torch. But dig a little deeper, like back into the neon weirdness of the 1990s, and you'll find that Marvel's first family wasn't just weird, they were cosmically, comically, ridiculously weird. We're talking lost movies, Fishmen with udders, anime-level storylines, and power-ups that would make Dragon Ball blush. The 90s weren't just a decade of Pogs and Tamagotchis. They were a time when the Fantastic Four writer said, sure, let's throw logic out the window and see if anyone notices. So today, we're counting down 10 absolutely bizarre, Fantastic Four facts about the 90s that you definitely forgot, or maybe blocked out for mental health reasons. Either way, buckle in. This isn't your dad's Fantastic Four. Let's start with number 10. The MCU's cosmic future are coming for the stars again. Before the MCU became the multiverse jumping timeline busting behemoth it is now, the Fantastic Four were the OG gateway to the weird side of Marvel. And guess what? They're coming back, and this time, Marvel's pulling no punches. Word on the street is that the FF won't just be popping up, they'll be front and center for the MCU's next big cosmic arc. Think Negative Zone, think Galactus, think Kang, and Reed Richards sharing tense, nerdy eye contact across timelines. After years of dancing around the team, shout out to John Krasinski's multiverse cameo as Reed in Multiverse of Madness, Marvel's finally about to give us their real introduction. And if the rumors are true, the Fantastic Four are going to be the glue that holds Phase 6 together. So yeah, the future is stretchy, flamey, rocky, and occasionally invisible, and we're here for it. Number 9, the Baxter Building's MCU Easter egg. Already there. Remember when Tony Stark sold Avengers Tower and didn't tell us who bought it? Yeah, Marvel fans haven't slept since. One of the juiciest fan theories is that this building was secretly sold to, you guessed it, the Fantastic Four, the infamous Baxter Building, their headquarters / science lab / accidental portal generator, might already be standing tall in the MCU, and if true, it means Reed Richards and his gang have been quietly cooking while everyone else was fighting Thanos. So next time you rewatch Spider-Man Far From Home and see that construction site in NYC with a 123 sign, look closer. That question mark might just be a 4 in disguise. Marvel's sneaky like that. Number 8, Sue Storm's glow up was iconic. Let's give it up for the real MVP of the Fantastic Four. Sue, I can crush you with a thought, Storm. In the early days, Sue was basically Marvel's poster child for damsels in distress. She could turn invisible and faint. That's it. That was the skill set. But by the 1990s, she was done doing sideline. Sue leveled up into one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel universe, not just because of her force fields, which, by the way, could block Hulk punches and contain supernovas, but because she became the emotional core of the team. While Reed was too busy inventing time machines and Johnny was flirting with every sentient life form, Sue was the glue, the rock, the force of nature who could literally turn your lungs into balloons if you pissed her off. Her development through the 90s is still held up as one of Marvel's best examples of a female character going from sidekick to scene stealer. Invisible? Not anymore. Number 7, the Fantastic Four's legacy stayed weird, but stayed strong. Here's the thing. By the 90s, the Fantastic Four weren't the cool kids anymore. The X-Men had taken over, Spider-Man was selling more comics and pop albums, and the Avengers were still, working on it. With the Fantastic Four, they leaned into their weirdness, and honestly, it worked. This was the era of bizarre crossovers, stretchy logic, and some of the strangest villains in comic book history. But through it all, the FFs stuck to their core values, science, family, and freaking out in alternative dimensions. They weren't trying to be edgy or hip. They were still taking field trips to space, getting zapped by cosmic rays, and accidentally starting intergalactic wars. Even when Marvel rebooted the whole universe, Heroes Reborn, anyone? They couldn't keep the FF down for long because, weird or not, they were foundational. You don't get modern Marvel without the Fantastic Four, period. Number 6, their real origin. Not issue number 48, try issue number 44. Alright, comic nerds, this one's for you. Ask the Avenger Marvel fan when the Fantastic Four became great, and they'll say issue number 48, the epic debut of Galactus and Silver Surfer. Dig a little deeper, and some diehards will swear the true evolution started 4 issues earlier. Fantastic Four number 44 was where things got cosmic and personal. That's where the Inhumans showed up, where Kirby's art started going full fever dream, where the stories took a step away from corny villains and started building worlds. This wasn't just superhero stuff anymore. This was mythology. Issue number 44 is the deep cut that real collectors chase, because that's when the FF started shifting from, hey, let's fight Mole Man again, to let's explore philosophical chaos in alien cultures while debating the ethics of omnipotence. Basically, it got weird, but in the best way. Okay, that's 5 down, 5 to go. You're not ready? But we're diving in anyway. Number 5, Johnny Storm was Galactus, Harold, and he kinda slayed. So, you think Silver Surfer was the only cosmic Uber Eats driver for Galactus? Think again. In the 90s, Marvel decided to shake things up by giving Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch, a serious power upgrade and a serious moral dilemma. That's right, for a short but fiery moment in comic book history, Johnny became a herald of Galactus. Let that sink in. The same guy who once set off a smoke alarm in the Baxter building because he cooked nachos with his bare hands got cosmic. And he looked good doing it. With the power cosmic at his fingertips, Johnny wasn't just lighting candles anymore, he was lighting up galaxies. And no, he didn't betray Earth or sell out to the giant purple planet eater. In fact, his brief stints as Harold helped save the Fantastic Four during one of their nastier run-ins with Galactus. He was one of those, wait, what? Moments that only the 90s could fully commit to. Wild, reckless, and way too powerful for his own good. It was peak Johnny Storm energy. On number 4, The Thing had its own animated show. Sort of. Now, here's a deep cut. Ben Grimm, aka The Thing, once starred in his own animated series. No, it wasn't some dark, gritty solo adventure, and no, it wasn't exactly a hit. In fact, it was barely about Ben at all. Fred and Barney meet the Thing. Yes, those Fred and Barney aired in the late 1970s but returned in the early 90s, and it gave kids a very different version of The Thing. Instead of the rocky trenchcoat wearing bruiser we all love, this version was a teen named Benji Grimm who transformed into The Thing by slamming 2 magic rings together and yelling, "Thing ring, do your thing!" It was less Marvel comics and more Hanna-Barbera chaos. No Reed, no Sue, no Johnny, just Benji, a group of teenagers, and occasional monster battles that look like rejected Scooby-Doo episodes. Still, it counts. The Thing technically got a solo spotlight and honestly was kind of adorable in a what were they smoking kind of way. Number 3, Big in Japan, was an actual comic and a wild one. Okay, now we're entering Looney Tunes on acid territory. In the mid-2000s, riding hard on 90s weirdness energy, Marvel dropped a mini-series called Fantastic Four Big in Japan, and oh man, it went all in. This wasn't your standard FF tale. Instead, it leaned into surreal manga-style art, goofy monster battles, and scenes that looked like they were ripped from a fever dream. The Human Torch wrestled kaiju. Ben Grimm got his own fan club in Tokyo, and at one point, they fought a living, sobbing building. That's no joke. The whole comic was drawn like an exaggerated squishy anime, complete with bulging eyes, weird sound effects, and more onomatopoeia than a Batman 66 episode. It wasn't trying to be deep, it was trying to be fun, and it nailed it. Big in Japan felt like Marvel's love letter to kaiju movies, anime tropes, and cultural whiplash. And while it came out just after the 90s ended, it carried the exact kind of chaos the FF became famous for during that decade. Now, number 2, The Fishman with cow udders. Yes, this happened. Alright, deep breath, this one's real, we promise. In one of the most, what the hell am I reading? Arcs of the 90s, Fantastic Four found themselves battling an army of mutated fishmen with cow udders. You read that right. They were called the Piscu Men, and they came from an underwater civilization that had truly bizarre ideas about evolution. Apparently, their genetic experiments went a little off the rails, and the result was creatures that looked like the love child of a trout and a Holstein. This wasn't parody, this was fanfic. This was canon. To be fair, the story was trying to make a point about genetic modification, pollution, and the dangers of playing God, but that message got a little lost under the weight of, fish people lactating through udders. It's one of those moments that perfectly captures the beauty of the 90s comic book scene. Wild ideas? Check. Weird body horror? Check. Bold artistic choices no one questioned in the editing room? Double check. Now, coming in at number 1, the unreleased 1994 movie that was never meant to be seen. And now we arrive at the crown jewel of Fantastic Four weirdness, 1994 Lost movie. Produced by B-movie king Roger Corman, this truly low-budget adaptation of the Fantastic Four was made for one reason and one reason only: to keep the film rights. Yep, the studio had to produce a movie by a certain date or they'd lose the rights to the FF. So what did they do? They made a movie, sort of. It was never meant to be released. The cast didn't even know. They were giving it their all, thinking this was their big break, while the studio fully intended to bury the film forever, and yet it leaked. Bootleg VHS tapes started circulating at Comic-Cons. Grainy copies popped up online, and slowly the movie became legend. Awkward effects, over-the-top acting, a Dr. Doom who looked like a Renaissance Fair cosplayer with a chest cold. It was all gloriously terrible, and fans loved it. Even today, you can find the entire thing floating around YouTube or on dusty DVDs passed between collectors like forbidden relics. It's a time capsule, a disaster piece, a cult classic that was never supposed to exist. And that, dear friends, is why it's the weirdest Fantastic Four fact of the 90s. So there you have it. 10 completely bonkers, absolutely real, I can't believe that happened, Fantastic Four facts from the neon glow madness of the 1990s. I might not have been Marvel's coolest team or the edgiest or the best dressed, but they were always the weirdest, and honestly, that's kind of why we love them. Let us know in the comments which fact made your jaw drop, or which one you somehow remembered from a comic buried in your parents' attic. If you've ever sat through the 1994 movie, respect. You've seen things. Right now, you feel all fuzzy and nostalgic, yeah? For this feeling to last forever, you have to hit that like and subscribe button, because with Box Set and Chill, the 80s and 90s never end.